All right, let's talk about the New York Jets and the rough situation they find themselves in. 2-6, just lost to one of the worst teams in football in the New England Patriots. And the weird thing about the Jets is this was kind of an all-in year. They were going for a Super Bowl victory with how they constructed this team, and now find themselves towards the bottom of the league. They're in a weird spot, so I kind of wanted to break down their cap situation, Aaron Rodgers' contract, and talk about where they can go from here, and not just for this year, but in future years. How does this affect them? Because certain aspects of these contracts are very fascinating to me. First, we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers' contract, which I'm just going to have to put this over my face so you can see all of it. But Aaron Rodgers' contract is kind of, I feel like, the main cog in the machine for the Jets these next couple of years. If you look at the cap number, you see that the cap hit is just $23.5 million for next season. It's only $17 million this season, but then in 2026, it balloons up to $63 million. A very important thing to note with all of this is that 2026 season, he will not play. So he is a free agent in 2026. That's a void year. So they're pushing most of this cap hit to a year where he will not play. The logic behind this, of course, makes sense, right? I mean, if you are trying to go in and win a Super Bowl, hey, these are the years that we have Rodgers. We have Rodgers for 3 years. Let's push all of that cap hit as much as we can to a year where he won't play. This is maximizing our odds to win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, and then when he retires or goes somewhere else, well, okay, then we'll, then we'll have a rebuild, but hopefully we can have some success in the years that he's here. Obviously, it hasn't worked out, so now it looks very stupid, but logically, if you are trying to win a Super Bowl, that is the correct decision. And so because of the way this contract is structured, they're kind of in a spot where next year they're actually not in a horrible situation. In fact, even looking at their key free agents, I think DJ Reed is probably the big one you want to sign. The number next to them, that is what I would project they'd get in free agency. It's just my guess. No scientific method there. Totally could be wrong, but somewhere around ballpark figure of millions of dollars there. I think DJ Reed would be the guy they want to make sure they bring back. Hassan Reddick, I don't know if they want to bring. I don't know what's going to happen with him in that weird situation. Mike Williams, again, hasn't really worked out. He's probably going to go somewhere else. Both of their tackles are on this list, Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, both of whom I think have played all right this year. And they did draft someone to replace one of the tackles, so you have that. Also, Tyler Conklin in the mix. So, again, you can let some of these guys walk if you want to, but you have to replace them with somebody, right? So in 2025, they currently are projected for just $51 million in cap space, and their key free agents is actually right at $51 million, according to my projections. I didn't do that intentionally. It just coincidentally worked out that way. So, I mean, they could run it back, I suppose. I'm not sure if this is what you want to do, but the point is that you can spend over the cap. We all know how that works. I don't know if they want to, given this situation, but there isn't a ton of room right here to work around some stuff. You can let Hassan Reddick walk and try to spend that money elsewhere, but not a ton of wiggle room here after this season. But you're also not going to have to cut people and completely blow it up either. The following year is where things get a little rough. Because, again, like I mentioned, you're going to be paying Aaron Rodgers $63 million to not play for you. And, in fact, there's other players who are, having void years that year. Because, again, the Jets kind of went all in trying to win a Super Bowl in the 3 years that they have Rodgers. Their 2026 dead money is actually sitting at $82 million as it stands right now, which is a massive number. Their cap space is currently sitting at $86 million, which seems like a decent amount, although 2 years away isn't the highest you'll ever see. But keep in mind, they only have 35 players signed for the 2026 season. So they're going to have to replace those players. So that's, 18 roster spots, and let alone, preseason stuff. And some of these are going to be rookie contracts. Hey, they're looking to have a good rookie, good first round pick. They're going to have to pay that guy. So it's actually kind of difficult to sign a lot of these, to sign that many players with the cap space that they currently have projected for 2026. What makes things 10 times worse is who they currently have that they have to just re-sign for that year. These are their projected free agents going into the 2026 season. So a couple guys, Aaron Rodgers and CJ Mosley, I'm just putting question marks next to their name because, like, I don't know if they're even going to be still playing at that point. Mosley, really good middle linebacker, but is 34 years old. Rodgers, we all know his situation. But those guys, will be players they have to replace. Tyrod Taylor is also a free agent. I didn't put him on the list, but he's also someone that, like, they'll have to have a quarterback at a certain point. But then you have Sauce Gardner, who I'm projecting, he's going to be the highest paid corner, unless he falls off a cliff. Like, I know some Jets fans get annoyed that he does have his lows, but the highs he's had, he's going to be the highest paid corner by somebody, if not by the Jets. Garrett Wilson, again, he's going to get a ton of money. Elijah Vera-Tucker, he's going to get a ton of money. I think Breece Hall will still get paid by somebody. Jermaine Johnson, he's a weird one where he's had some really good moments, but he's also struggled to stay healthy. So I could see him getting a $20 million deal because, again, we will have another year of sample size with all of these players. I also could see him getting less than that if things, if he gets injured again or something like that. So he's a bit of a wild card. And then John Simpson, who's been a good offensive lineman for them, not someone you want to just let go. So, yeah, this is a lot. This is a huge laundry list of star players that they have to re-sign. And again, they don't have a ton of money to do it. In fact, if they just wanted to re-sign Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Vera-Tucker, and Breece Hall to the deals that I've suggested that they want to, that it would take, they couldn't do it. That would be over their salary cap. Now, again, you can spend over the cap, but that's probably what they're going to have to do is kick the can down the road just to survive this situation, let alone improve. And you're 2-6, you need to improve, right? We've kind of seen this a bit with Tampa Bay, who kind of got lucky with the Baker Mayfield signing working out. They were able to have a transition at the quarterback position, but they've still really just struggled to continue to improve and get better, right? It's kind of been a thing where they've sort of maintained being solid, but it's hard to get better when you're in that tough cap situation. But again, Tampa Bay won a Super Bowl doing what they did, so they're very happy with every decision that was made. They went all in to win a Super Bowl. For the Jets, they tried a similar thing, and so far it's just blown up in their face. So it's a real question as to what exactly do you do in this situation. It's worth mentioning, I didn't even put Devontae Adams in as a key free agent for next season, so there are other players that have to be of note, I think. It is worth mentioning, I think, this is kind of why they kept going all in, because, like, we can sit here and say they keep doubling down and tripling down. At a certain point, like, that's kind of what you have to do. Like, you're going to suck in a couple years anyway. You might as well try and salvage this. It's the same thing the Broncos did with trading for Sean Payton. The issue is that I think at this point, you have to wonder if it's just too late. And do you look, is there a team that'd be willing to trade for Aaron Rodgers and you could save some money that way, or trade for some of these players? And to be honest, I think looking at this situation, and this is going to suck if you're a Jets fan to hear, you might have to look into trading Sauce Gardner or Garrett Wilson or Elijah Vera-Tucker, because you can get a ton of value, you can get draft picks, which can help you rebuild, and you might not be able to pay all those guys in a couple years anyway, so it makes it a lot easier if it's just one less guy left to pay. But then, again, if you're doing that, you're kind of just accepting defeat. One thing, I didn't really touch on it, you saw it when you saw Rodgers' contract, is you can't really get out of it money-wise. They owe him, $86.5 million total. That's how much he has left on his deal, and $75 million of it, I guess $74 million of it, is still guaranteed. So, like, honestly, you could argue it's worth it to save that, nearly $10 million, given where they're at, to cut him, but I don't know if they're going to do that, so... And it's still not helping you much if you do that. So, yeah, the Jets are in a tough spot. And, at this point, again, part of you wonders, do you start making some trades? I think they're going to ride it out this season, see if they can turn things around. Because if you could turn things around and you can, finish the season 8-9 and you look a lot better the second half of the year, then maybe you could try to make some tweaks for next year. But if not, big dominoes could fall for the Jets. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.